Las Vegas, the city that never sleeps, where fortunes are made and lost in seconds. Beneath the blinding lights and echoing slot machines lies a truth no one wants to admit. Every system, no matter how secure, has a weakness. And one man found it. He wasn't a genius hacker. He wasn't part of a professional crime syndicate. He was just a biker, rough, fearless, and dangerously smart. A man who walked into the heart of Sin City, stared at the billion-dollar casinos that thought they were untouchable, and decided to take them down. They called him Ryder, a ghost on two wheels. A man with nothing to lose and everything to gain. In one night, he would change the legend of Las Vegas forever, stealing millions in casino cash and vanishing into the desert before the sun could rise. Police called it impossible. The FBI called it the perfect heist. But for the underground world, he became a hero. This wasn't just a robbery. It was a message that even the most powerful city of greed could bleed. No alarms, no witnesses, no trace. Just a trail of mystery, betrayal, and genius planning that still confuses investigators today. As the lights of Vegas glittered on, one man disappeared into the criminal underworld, leaving behind a legend that refused to die. This is the story of the biker who beat the house and vanished forever. Las Vegas, a city built on chance, where millions gamble their lives chasing fortune and fame. But behind the flashing lights and endless music lies a world few ever see, one filled with greed, corruption, and danger. For most, Vegas is a dream. For one man, it became his battlefield. Ryder wasn't your ordinary criminal. He was a biker with a mind sharper than any card shark and a past darker than the desert nights. A mechanic by trade, a gambler by instinct, and a rebel by heart. He had spent years watching the rich win while the desperate lost everything. When life pushed him to the edge, he decided to take control of the game. His plan wasn't born overnight. It grew in the shadows, built on anger, intelligence, and a deep understanding of how Vegas truly worked. He studied casino systems, bribed employees, and turned his knowledge of machines into the perfect tool for chaos. In a city where everyone thinks they can beat the house, Ryder actually did. He stole millions from a high-security casino, vanished into thin air, and left the entire city questioning how it was even possible. This isn't just a story about money. It's about revenge, genius, and survival. The story of a biker who took on Las Vegas and won. But in a city that punishes those who break its rules, victory always comes with a price. And for Ryder, that price was everything. Before he became the man who outsmarted Las Vegas, Ryder was just another lost soul on the open road. Born and raised in a dusty Arizona town, he grew up surrounded by noise, the roar of motorcycle engines, the shouts of bar fights, and the endless hum of desert wind. His father, a mechanic with a criminal streak, taught him two things early on: how to fix an engine and how to trust no one. By 16, Ryder was rebuilding bikes, running small-time hustles, and betting on underground poker games. The rush of gambling fascinated him, the idea that one bold move could change everything. But that thrill soon turned into survival when his father was arrested for arms smuggling and their home was raided. Left with nothing, Ryder hit the highway, riding from town to town, sleeping in motels, and fixing bikes for cash. It was during these aimless years that Ryder met men who lived on the edge, ex-cons, smugglers, and outlaws who shared stories of quick money and quicker deaths. He learned how to read people, spot weakness, and never make the same mistake twice. Every mile hardened him. Every loss fueled him. His path eventually led to Las Vegas, a city that seemed built for him. Bright, dangerous, and full of opportunity. He took a job as a mechanic for a local biker club that transported casino equipment across the state. That's where he first saw it, the inside of a casino's transport vault. The heavy locks, armored trucks, and careless guards moving millions each night. Ryder realized something no one else dared to think. These casinos weren't invincible. They were human, run by greed, shortcuts, and arrogance. He began studying everything: shift changes, transport times, and staff patterns. But it wasn't just money that drove him. Ryder carried anger deep inside, a need to strike back at a world that had taken everything from him. To him, the casinos represented that same injustice, a system where only the rich won, and the rest were meant to lose. One night, at a roadside diner, he met Tessa, a casino cashier drowning in debt to loan sharks. She was sharp, desperate, and fearless. Exactly what he needed. Over black coffee and whispered conversations, they made a pact. He would give her a way out, and she would give him access to the casino's secrets. From that night on, the plan began to take shape. Quiet, precise, and dangerous. Ryder wasn't chasing luck anymore. He was building his own game, one that would outsmart the biggest players in Vegas. And as the lights of the strip flickered in the distance, Ryder knew one thing for certain. This time, the house wouldn't win. Ryder and Tessa spent months preparing for the biggest gamble of their lives, a heist so daring it would shake Las Vegas to its core. Their target was the Golden Mirage, one of the city's most profitable and heavily guarded casinos. With millions flowing through its vault every night, it was considered untouchable. But Ryder saw what others couldn't: the small cracks hidden behind layers of greed and routine. Tessa's position as a cashier gave them access to the casino's inner workings. She memorized shift rotations, code changes, and security blind spots. Ryder, using his mechanical skills, began crafting custom tools: magnetic key replicators, sound masking devices, and fake ID badges that could fool even the sharpest guards. Every night, they practiced in an abandoned warehouse outside town, timing every move down to the second. Ryder's plan was built on precision and psychology. He knew security depended more on people than technology. So he studied them: the guards, the cleaners, the cash handlers. He learned when they were tired, distracted, or careless. He turned their habits into his advantage. The heist was set for a Tuesday night, the slowest time of the week. At 3 a.m., during the casino's nightly maintenance window, Tessa triggered a fake fire alarm on the third floor, diverting surveillance and security teams. Meanwhile, Ryder, dressed as a maintenance engineer, entered through the employee tunnels using a stolen ID. Every step was planned, every breath calculated. He reached the underground vault area and used Tessa's copied access code to bypass the secondary lock. Inside lay stacks of untraceable chips and fresh cash waiting to be distributed. Ryder filled 2 duffel bags, nearly $12 million worth, in under 8 minutes. Upstairs, chaos spread as fire alarms blared and customers were evacuated. Down below, Ryder moved silently through the tunnels, his face calm, his pulse steady. He slipped out through the loading bay, where his modified delivery truck waited. By the time the alarm system rebooted, Ryder was gone, driving through the Nevada desert, the lights of Las Vegas fading in his mirrors. Tessa met him a few miles out, both trembling with disbelief. They had done it. They had beaten the house. The next morning, headlines exploded. The Desert Ghost, $12 million stolen from Vegas Casino. The FBI swarmed the city, casino officials panicked, and every gambler in town whispered the same question: who could possibly rob a Vegas vault? Ryder and Tessa went underground, hiding in motels and biker bars across state lines. But success breeds attention, and attention brings danger. As the city searched for answers, Ryder didn't realize that his biggest enemy wasn't the law. It was the people closest to him. Because in the world of crime, loyalty doesn't last forever, especially when millions are at stake. Within 48 hours of the heist, Las Vegas was in lockdown. The FBI, state police, and casino security teams launched one of the largest manhunts in Nevada's history. Roads were blocked, airports were watched, and every pawn shop and casino cage was under surveillance. But Ryder, the man behind the biggest casino robbery in years, was nowhere to be found. Tessa wasn't as lucky. 2 days after the heist, she was caught in Reno while trying to exchange a small batch of casino chips. Surveillance cameras spotted her nervous movements, and within hours, agents stormed her hotel room. But Ryder had planned for this. He had given her decoy chips, worthless to anyone who didn't know the real serial codes. When the FBI interrogated her, she stayed silent, claiming she didn't know who the biker was. Meanwhile, Ryder was already on the move. He ditched the delivery truck in an abandoned gas station and switched to his Harley, riding deep into the Nevada desert. He knew the terrain better than most lawmen. Every canyon, every dirt trail, every hiding place. For days, he camped under the stars, listening to radio chatter and tracking police drones from a distance. But the money he stole was marked. The casino's internal system had recorded every chip's serial number, making them nearly impossible to cash without inside help. Ryder needed someone with connections, someone who could turn stolen chips into clean money. That's when he reached out to Duke, the ruthless leader of the Iron Sons motorcycle gang, an old associate from his drifting days. Duke agreed to help, but nothing in the underworld came for free. He wanted a 50% cut and control over the distribution. Ryder refused. What started as a business deal quickly turned into a deadly power game. Duke leaked Ryder's location to the FBI, hoping to take the money once he was captured, but Ryder was no fool. He intercepted a police radio signal and realized he'd been betrayed. In the middle of the night, as helicopters hovered overhead and sirens closed in, he sped through the desert, his Harley kicking up dust and fire as bullets ripped through the air. The chase lasted hours. Police vehicles crashed, drones lost signal, and agents were forced to turn back as a sandstorm rolled across the valley. By dawn, all they found was a trail of tire marks disappearing into the wasteland. Ryder was gone. Again. The press called him the Desert Ghost. The FBI called him a master of escape. But in reality, Ryder was running out of options. His allies had turned, his partner was behind bars, and the entire state was hunting him. Still, as long as he had his bike and the open road, Ryder believed one thing: no cage could ever hold him. Weeks passed, and Ryder's name became a legend whispered in every biker bar and casino back room. The FBI had launched one of the most expensive manhunts in Nevada's history. But still, no sign of the man who had robbed Las Vegas blind. Some said he'd died in the desert. Others swore they'd seen him riding under the moonlight, a shadow on 2 wheels vanishing into the dunes. The authorities were desperate for answers. Every highway checkpoint, motel, and rest stop was searched. Helicopters scanned the rocky plains by day, and thermal drones flew by night. Yet Ryder seemed to have disappeared into thin air. It was as if the desert itself had swallowed him whole. Then, one afternoon, a hiker made a chilling discovery. Ryder's burned motorcycle deep in the Nevada wastelands. The chrome was twisted, the tires melted, and the frame half buried in sand. Near it lay pieces of scorched fabric, but no body, no blood, and no sign of the stolen money. The FBI declared him presumed dead. Case closed. But Las Vegas wasn't ready to forget. Months later, small casinos in Arizona and Texas began reporting mysterious robberies. Each crime was quick, precise, and silent. The exact style of the Las Vegas heist. No alarms, no witnesses, no trace. The only clue left behind was a symbol drawn in dust, a small motorcycle tire mark. Rumors spread fast in the criminal underworld. People whispered that Ryder had survived and escaped south into Mexico. Some claimed he was working with cartel smugglers, running illegal casinos across the border. Others said he'd gone underground, living under a new name, surrounded by outlaws who protected him like a legend. Tessa, still in custody, refused to speak. When questioned about the copycat robberies, she simply smiled and said, "You can't catch a ghost." In time, Ryder became more myth than man. His story blurred the line between truth and fiction, a symbol of rebellion and freedom against a world built on control. But for law enforcement, the mystery was infuriating. They had evidence of his death, but proof of his survival. The case was stuck in limbo. No closure, no justice, only questions. To the streets of Vegas, he became something more. A folk hero, a modern outlaw who took from the rich and disappeared into legend. The man who stole millions, outsmarted the FBI, and turned the desert into his hiding place. The man they called the Desert Ghost. Years passed, but the mystery of Ryder, the Desert Ghost, refused to fade. Even after the FBI officially closed the case, investigators, journalists, and criminal analysts couldn't let it go. How could one man rob one of the most secure casinos in the world, vanish without a trace, and possibly still be alive? The unanswered questions only deepened the legend. Then came the discovery that reignited the entire case. A former casino security officer facing charges for corruption confessed that the heist had inside help, not just from Tessa, but from someone in law enforcement. An officer assigned to casino protection had erased key surveillance footage the night of the robbery and manipulated police radio logs during the initial chase. It wasn't just a biker's crime, it was a network of greed, betrayal, and power. As more evidence surfaced, the truth became clear. Ryder's disappearance wasn't luck. It was strategy. He had planned his vanishing act as carefully as the heist itself. Every clue he left behind, the burned motorcycle, the missing money, the rumors in Mexico, was part of the illusion. Ryder had built his own ghost story to keep the world chasing shadows while he lived freely in the underground. Some claim to have seen him years later, older, quiet, running a biker bar on the Mexican border. Others said he worked with smugglers, helping fugitives disappear like he once did. But none of it was ever proven. The FBI never recovered the $12 million, and no body was ever found. In Las Vegas, his name became legend. Gamblers spoke of him as the man who beat the house, while old bikers toasted to him as a symbol of freedom. The outlaw who played by his own rules and vanished when the world came hunting. Even today, casinos quietly review their security systems, haunted by the fear that another Ryder might be watching. His story is told in whispers, not as a warning, but as a reminder. In a city built on illusion, the greatest trick of all was disappearing into it. Ryder proved one timeless truth. No matter how powerful the system, there's always a flaw, and someone brave enough to find it. He didn't just steal millions. He stole control, pride, and the illusion of invincibility from Las Vegas itself. And as the lights of the Strip continue to shine, somewhere in the shadows, the ghost of the biker who beat the house still rides, free, untouchable, and forever part of the legend of